And we went into the audition and he signed in, and then the casting director came out and said, Blake? And Eric said, yep, that's her. And I just thought I was gonna die.
Hollywood is no stranger to controversy, but when family ties and lawsuits collide, the drama reaches a whole new level. Blake Lively's brother-in-law just issued a shocking apology, but it's not for what you might think. With a staggering $400 million lawsuit hanging in the balance, tensions are at an all-time high. So, what really happened? And why is this apology making waves? Let's break it all down. Blake Lively's latest legal battle has taken Hollywood by storm. It all started when she filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director in It Ends With Us, accusing him of sexual harassment and workplace retaliation. But the drama didn't stop there. In a shocking countermove, Baldoni fired back with a lawsuit of his own, this time targeting Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, claiming defamation and extortion. With both sides lawyering up and the stakes reaching a jaw-dropping $400 million, the situation quickly spiraled into one of the most talked about Hollywood legal battles in recent years. And just when things couldn't get any more intense, Blake Lively's brother-in-law, Bart Johnson, stepped into the fray, making things even messier. If the name Bart Johnson sounds familiar, it's because he played the beloved Coach Bolton in High School Musical, but recently, he's been making headlines for a very different reason: his public support for Blake Lively during this heated legal showdown. As tensions between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni escalated, Bart Johnson made it clear that he wasn't just going to sit on the sidelines, he was going to take a stand. Unlike many in Hollywood who choose to stay neutral in public disputes, Johnson took to social media with an unfiltered and direct message, making it crystal clear where his loyalties lay. He didn't hold back. In a series of posts and comments, Johnson openly criticized Baldoni, showing unwavering support for his sister-in-law, Blake Lively. He didn't speak in vague terms or dance around the issue. He went straight for the jugular, calling Baldoni a fraud, and implying that the accusations against him were not just valid, but damning. His strong words quickly gained attention, with many of Lively's supporters rallying behind him, praising him for his courage to speak out against Baldoni. Johnson's statements fueled public discourse surrounding the lawsuit, drawing even more attention to the ongoing legal battle. His comments spread like wildfire across social media platforms, with fans dissecting every word and speculating about what he might know that the public didn't. Was he speaking from personal knowledge? Had he heard details that weren't yet public? Or was this purely an emotional response driven by his close relationship with Lively? Regardless of the reasoning, one thing was certain: Johnson's blunt words added even more intensity to an already explosive situation.
I was like making juice with there was this maple water on set, and I was like, oh, water tapped from a maple tree. This is exciting. But instead of just handing him a plastic red cup that I was drinking out of, I went and got the martini glass, a crystal glass, and shook it up for him properly, because you can't hand that man a red cup.
No.
And so he's standing on a dock with mud around, and he's holding a crystal martini glass. It was just juice and maple water.
With the lawsuit playing out in both the courtroom and the court of public opinion, his vocal stance turned him into an unexpected player in a high-stakes Hollywood feud. But what no one saw coming was how quickly things would change. Just when it seemed like Johnson was standing firm in his position, he made a move that left everyone stunned. An apology that raised more questions than answers. At first, Bart Johnson's comments added fuel to an already raging fire, rallying fans who firmly sided with Blake Lively in her legal battle against Justin Baldoni. His outspoken criticism of Baldoni, calling him a fraud and standing by Lively without hesitation, seemed to reinforce the narrative that Baldoni was the clear antagonist in the situation. Fans of Lively and Johnson praised him for speaking out, commending his loyalty and willingness to stand up for family. But as the legal drama unfolded, Johnson's involvement took an unexpected turn, one that left both supporters and critics stunned. Just when it seemed like he was standing firm in his support for Blake Lively, he did something no one saw coming. He publicly apologized. In a shocking reversal, Johnson took to social media once again, But this time, instead of doubling down on his accusations against Baldoni, he expressed regret for his previous comments. In his carefully worded statement, Johnson admitted that his remarks may have been unkind and that he never intended to contribute to the negativity surrounding the situation. He emphasized his commitment to staying positive and uplifting those around him, rather than tearing anyone down. It was a stark contrast to his previous stance, one that had been filled with passion, anger, and a sense of unwavering loyalty to Lively. His apology immediately raised eyebrows. Was this a genuine moment of self-reflection, or was there more happening behind the scenes? Some speculated that Johnson had been advised, either by legal teams or by family members, to walk back his statements in order to avoid making the situation worse. After all, Hollywood legal battles aren't just fought in courtrooms, they're fought in the public eye, where every statement can impact reputations and case outcomes. Johnson's unexpected change in tone left everyone questioning what had really happened behind the scenes. Had he spoken too soon in his initial outburst? Had new information come to light that made him reconsider his stance? Or was this simply a calculated move to distance himself from a controversy that was only growing more volatile? Regardless of the reason, one thing was clear. His apology didn't bring an end to the drama. If anything, it added a whole new layer of mystery to an already tangled web of accusations, lawsuits, and conflicting narratives.
Can I tell you my favorite?
Yes, please.
Like, take my breath away favorite? Those boots.
Those are my
yeah,
boots.
those boots are so good.
Those are my real life boots. A lot of it's my real life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes. I was borrowing some.
Wait, that's kind of amazing. So you have something of Gigi's in the movie.
Yeah, it's like a wedding, like something old, something borrowed, something blue, something new.
Wait, which
except
one?
it's just,
Now I want to think of the scene.
Oh,
So-
I'm wearing her stuff all over it.
Oh, really?
And tons of like Bodhi, which is with the suit now that I'm wearing is Bodhi. It was meant for my husband, but I
Wait,
borrowed
that's
it.
his suit?
It was meant for him to wear, but it's so pretty. Look at it. You guys are not getting it in the shot.
This sudden shift left many people wondering, was Bart Johnson pressured into apologizing, or did he genuinely have a change of heart? His earlier remarks were strong, emotional, and direct, leaving little room for doubt about where he stood. But his public reversal painted a very different picture, one that raised more questions than answers. For some, his apology seemed like damage control, possibly orchestrated behind the scenes. The entertainment industry is no stranger to public relations strategies, and when high-profile lawsuits are involved, every statement, especially from someone close to the situation, carries weight. Could it be that Lively and Reynolds, known for their carefully crafted public images, advised Johnson to step back? Or was it Baldoni's legal team that applied pressure, perhaps hinting at potential legal consequences if Johnson continued making inflammatory remarks? And then there's the possibility that Johnson's apology was simply personal. Maybe he realized that getting involved in such a high-stakes legal battle wasn't worth the potential fallout. Hollywood thrives on relationships, and burning bridges, especially in such a public way, can have lasting consequences. Perhaps Johnson realized that taking a step back was the smarter move, whether for his career, his family, or his own peace of mind. But the bigger question remains, what does this mean for the ongoing legal battle? If someone as close to Lively as Johnson felt the need to retract his words, does that signal uncertainty within her camp? Could this be a sign that Lively's case isn't as airtight as it initially appeared? Or is it simply an effort to keep the focus on the lawsuit itself rather than on personal attacks? One thing is clear. Johnson's apology didn't simplify anything. If anything, it made the entire situation more complicated. It introduced doubt, speculation, and even more public scrutiny on a case that was already messy. Instead of shifting attention away from the controversy, it pulled even more people into the conversation, fueling endless debates about what's really happening behind closed doors. And with the legal battle still in full swing, this apology may just be another chapter in a story that's far from over. Bart Johnson's unexpected apology sent shockwaves through fans and media alike, instantly becoming a hot topic across social media and entertainment news outlets. Given how strongly he had defended Blake Lively just days earlier, his sudden change in tone left many people stunned. Some saw it as a mature and responsible move, praising him for stepping back from the heated rhetoric and choosing positivity over conflict. Supporters argued that his willingness to acknowledge his mistake and publicly apologize showed emotional intelligence and integrity.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
Especially in an industry where public feuds can quickly spiral out of control. However, not everyone was convinced. Critics immediately questioned whether Johnson's apology was truly sincere or if it had been carefully orchestrated behind the scenes. After all, his initial comments were bold, unfiltered, and unwavering in their support of Lively, so why the sudden reversal? Some speculated that he had been pressured into walking back his statements, perhaps even by Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds themselves. Given that Reynolds in particular is known for his meticulously managed public image, fans wondered if he had stepped in to control the situation before it could escalate any further. Others pointed out the possibility of legal consequences. Had Baldoni's team threatened legal action for defamation? Was there concern that Johnson's words could be used against Lively in court? With millions of dollars and Hollywood reputations on the line, it wouldn't be surprising if Johnson had been advised, either by legal teams or PR strategists, to retract his statements in an attempt to minimize any potential damage. The timing of the apology only added fuel to the speculation. If Johnson had genuinely felt remorse, why wait until now? Was he simply reacting to backlash? Or had new information surfaced that made him second-guess his stance? With more questions than answers, his apology didn't bring closure to the controversy. It only deepened the mystery. And while some saw it as an attempt to de-escalate the situation, the reality was that Johnson's statement had only intensified the debate. Was this a simple case of someone realizing they had spoken too soon? Or was there a larger behind-the-scenes strategy at play? One thing was certain, his apology didn't put an end to the drama. In fact, it just made things even more complicated. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's supporters took Bart Johnson's apology as a small but significant victory. Many saw it as an acknowledgement that Johnson may have spoken too soon without having all the facts. His initial outbursts, where he strongly sided with Blake Lively and even called Baldoni a fraud, was now being walked back, leading some to believe that his claims had been more emotionally driven than fact-based. For Baldoni's camp, this was an opportunity to argue that public perception had been unfairly swayed against him from the start. But for many observers, Johnson's sudden change of heart only raised more questions than it answered.
And we went into the audition and he signed in, and then the casting director came out and said, "Blake?" And Eric said, "Yep, that's her." And I just thought I was gonna die. And she said, "We don't have you on our call sheet." And he said, "Oh," and he put his agency's name. And so I auditioned, and I didn't know what to say in that moment. I was 16, and my brother had just written my name on a piece of paper, and they were looking at me. So I walked in the room and did the audition.
If he had been so certain about Baldoni's wrongdoing before, what had changed? Did his apology signal that new information had surfaced, information that might complicate Lively's claims? Or was it possible that he had been pressured into retracting his statements, either by legal threats or behind-the-scenes conversations with Lively and Ryan Reynolds? One thing was certain, Johnson's apology didn't bring closure to the controversy. If anything, it fueled even more speculation, turning what was already a heated legal dispute into an even messier, more unpredictable situation. Social media was flooded with debates over his motives, with some fans arguing that he was simply taking the high road, while others suspected that there was a deeper reason behind his public statement. And while public perception may have slightly shifted, one thing hadn't changed. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were still locked in a fierce legal battle, and neither side was backing down. The apology, instead of calming the situation, became another twist in an already chaotic storyline. Far from de-escalating tensions, Johnson's unexpected statement only added more layers to an already complex narrative. And with the legal battle still raging, the next phase of this drama was bound to get even messier. New developments were emerging, court filings were stacking up, and one thing was becoming increasingly clear: this wasn't just another Hollywood scandal. This was a full-blown war. Lively and her legal team remained firm in their accusations, standing by their claims that Justin Baldoni engaged in misconduct on the set of It Ends With Us. According to Lively's side, the alleged harassment and retaliation were not isolated incidents, but part of a pattern of behavior that they argue needs to be addressed. Her attorneys have emphasized that they have substantial evidence and witness testimonies to support their claims, though the specifics have yet to be made public. On the other hand, Baldoni continues to push back, insisting that the allegations against him are baseless and nothing more than an attempt to destroy his career. In his countersuit, he claims that not only is Lively's lawsuit built on false accusations, but that her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist played an active role in a defamation campaign against him. According to Baldoni's team, this is about more than just legal damages. It's about clearing his name in an industry where reputation is everything. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds, who was unexpectedly dragged into the lawsuit through Baldoni's countersuit, has remained tight-lipped. Despite being a major Hollywood star with a massive public presence, Reynolds has carefully avoided making any public statements on the case. However, insiders suggest that he's working behind the scenes to protect his family's reputation and ensure that any potential fallout from the lawsuit doesn't impact his brand, career, or personal life. Some reports even claim that Reynolds' legal team has been exploring ways to get him removed from the case entirely, distancing himself from the drama before it escalates further. With both sides refusing to back down and millions of dollars at stake, this case is shaping up to be one of the most high-profile Hollywood legal showdowns in recent years. Every new court filing only adds to the intrigue, with legal analysts debating the potential outcomes. Will Lively's claims hold up in court?
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
Can Baldoni prove that he's been falsely accused? And what role will Reynolds ultimately play in all of this? Fans are left speculating as new developments emerge, and as the case inches closer to the courtroom, tensions are higher than ever. But even with everything that's happened so far, the biggest twist in this story might still be ahead, because in Hollywood, the truth doesn't always come out the way you expect. At this point, the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has taken on a life of its own, dragging in unexpected players, fueling endless speculation, and keeping Hollywood on edge. What started as a behind-the-scenes dispute has now become a full-fledged legal war, with both sides refusing to back down. The involvement of Ryan Reynolds and the public statements from Bart Johnson have only added more layers to an already complicated situation. Bart Johnson's apology may have shifted the conversation, but it hasn't changed the fact that this lawsuit is still a ticking time bomb. Public perception continues to sway with each new development, and fans are left divided, some believing Lively's claims, others questioning the timing and motivations behind Baldoni's countersuit. Every detail, every legal filing, and every public statement is being dissected under the spotlight, turning this case into one of the most high-profile Hollywood showdowns in recent years. With millions of dollars, reputations, and careers hanging in the balance, the final outcome remains a mystery. Will this case end in a quiet settlement, with both sides walking away in an attempt to salvage their public images? Or will it escalate into an even bigger public spectacle, exposing private details and potentially ruining careers? And with new details surfacing every day, one question still lingers. Who's really telling the truth? In an industry where public image is everything, the battle isn't just being fought in the courtroom. It's also playing out in the court of public opinion. The truth may eventually come out, but by then the damage may already be done. One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Hollywood thrives on drama, and this lawsuit has delivered it in ways no one expected. And as the case unfolds, one final twist could change everything.